The following production is brought to you by the Talkin Buds Leafs Show.
I have this thought multiple times throughout the season where I'm like, it's a good thing that we've made this decision to put out an episode every few games. Because I think if we did it, if we were like strictly a post-game show, people would think that I'm a nutcase. Because if you look at the Thursday night game against Florida, a lot of people left that game and were like, oh, that was pretty good. That was one of their better defensive efforts of the year. And I don't disagree with that, but I was like, I didn't love their game. I thought they got pushed around. I thought they got outworked. Then Saturday night against Tampa, they come back, and I thought that was without question their best game of the season. And it had progressions throughout it that you wanted to see, where Matthew Knies and Max Domi end up being the heroes to send it to overtime. And it's important that we have these multiple game blocks in between episodes to maintain my sanity.
Yeah.
I don't think you're as crazy as I am.
No, I think I'm really taking a good approach to this season. I'm not going to freak out yet. It's not worth it. Of course, when you're watching the game, you're not going to just be like, oh, they can make mistakes. That's okay. But obviously you're going to spaz when you're watching the game. But yeah, I'm really trying to, I don't know how to explain how I'm feeling. It's I'm just so sick of exactly what you just explained, the game to game grind. And I find that it's just,
well, sports is
feel
fickle.
I know.
And we as sports fans are fickle. So it's you have your heart on your sleeve. So yeah, it's just at the end of a loss where they don't look great, you're just so pissed off. But then they come back, storm back, and beat Tampa in overtime, and it's just this euphoric feeling of no, you're right. This is a journey. Keep your head on straight.
And they've been garbage to start the season the past couple seasons. So it's and they were fine. They made the playoffs in November last year. So that's just I don't know. It's hard to freak out, especially when every game is just a similar hockey narrative. It's just different every game. It's just, I find this season it's just going to be extremely repetitive in terms of just the way the Tampa game played out. We're going to talk about it, but it's just the same old hockey.
Well, not necessarily true. I actually think there are some pretty good storylines this early into the season. Let's start with the goaltending. I was banging.
There's number one. There's number one hockeyism. Your goaltender comes in and makes stops, you're going to win a hockey game.
Yes. But if you look at sort of the storyline,
yeah,
underneath it, and remember, we're professional wrestling fans here, so storyline. I was banging this drum in the preseason and in training camp. I was like, Ilya Samsonov doesn't look good. He doesn't look dialed. If you look at his sort of career history, he had a career season last year. Washington basically gave up on the guy. And I'm not saying that he's a bum and the Leafs should give up on him too, but I just I thought it was kind of rational to be last year was an anomaly for him in his career. I found it hard to believe he was going to bounce back. And what you say about him is true. He deserves respect for being the first Leaf goalie since Ed Belfour to be in the net to help them win a playoff series. But I was I don't think this guy just doesn't look dialed. And then you see what happens in the Tampa game when they bring in Joe Woll and just the different, that game's, they're not coming back. They don't have a hope in hell of winning that game or even tying it if Samsonov stays in the net. And Joe Woll has this sort of demeanor. I'm not sitting here saying Joe Woll is the savior and anoint him as an elite NHL goaltender. But what I am saying is I feel like this team is extremely chaotic in their own end right now. They give up a lot of good scoring looks. And to have a guy in the net who has that sort of steady Eddie presence and demeanor, I think he's proving a better fit for this team right now at this early point in the season than Samsonov is.
Samsonov looked like a complete idiot in the Tampa game. Like, what is like he was lost out there, and it's in that, and like I'm always the guy who cuts the benefit of the doubt towards the goaltending, but like it just after Wall came in and just basically just shut it down the rest of the game. It really made me look back and be like, okay, Samsonov looked like a flailing idiot in the first period. Like, I know Kucherov's an elite shooter, and then the second goal, the guy's wide open in front of the net, but it's like he looked terrible. And then the classic, your goalie comes in and doesn't let a goal in, looks solid, and you come back and win the hockey game.
Are we rolling with Joe Woll?
You have to. Samsonov looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like he
needs
looks
to get it sorted.
What's his goals against average? Like 8? Like he looks terrible right now.
Yeah, I think
like there's no deny. Like it's like, yeah, people can try to come up with excuses for him. I can try to come up with excuses for him, but at the end of the day, like the guy literally has just let in a million goals. Like no matter how the team's played, there's a lot of teams that are playing like shit right now, and their goalies are playing better to bail them out of situations. Like I even thought the kid for Tampa, like they ended up losing the game, but that kid played unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was incredible. They gave up so many shots.
Yep.
Like they gave up so many opportunities to the Leafs, and their goaltending was great.
Yeah.
Like I know he didn't get the dub, but he kept them in the game. So it's for Samsonov, it's like it's the first game's the first game, the second game's the second game, but now he looks like, come on, like he's let in a lot of goals early in this season. So whatever guy is the hot hand, that's the direction you gotta go in.
And I think it's the classic sort of like, Woll has taken the net from him now, and so Samsonov's going to have to be the backup until he gets a chance to get in their first start, and then he's got to look good and have that seed of doubt creeping into Sheldon Keefe's mind about who the right decision is to start every night, because right now that's not a tough decision to make. Like you look at their numbers, like Samsonov has 14 goals allowed.
Yeah, numbers are awful.
Yeah,
like he's gotten lit up. Like there's no two ways about it.
And he just doesn't. I think with goaltenders, to me, I've just always, this is something I always appreciated about Freddie Anderson was I think it's so important to just have a guy in there who just exudes calmness. I think that is vital to teams. Like it's just good for a hockey team's psyche. Like if you don't want to look back there and see your guys swimming around trying to make saves, because then you start thinking like, oh my God, like if we give up one quality chance tonight, or we get caught out of position for any amount of time, this is going in the net.
Yeah, like Kucherov is an elite shooter, and both his goals were just him in his spot, just absolutely cranking it. But the first one is a savable. Like he could get in position, and just being in position, he could make that save. So it's kind of like that one wasn't great. And then the one where he just like went bar down on him, he looked like all right, you got to get this. I'm glad Sheldon pulled the plug at that point. Yes. It's like, all right, let's get this guy out of this game. He looks terrible right now.
Matthew Knies and Max Domi come together to supply 2 goals to tie the game up. I think I'm turning into the Max Domi apologist on this podcast, but I just think like the guy, like, look what happens when you give him someone to play with. Like, it's like, I know that's not entirely what the issue is. Like, I thought Mike Johnson put it well on Overdrive the other day when he was like, I can see him thinking out there. Like, I think we can all see that. But you put him out there with a kid that has the upside that Matthew Knies does, and let him create, and look what he can do. And it's just, I think Sheldon has been a huge part of the issue with Max's slow start. Like, give him, like, I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. But you need to get the guy going, Ryan. And so let's put him with, we need to get Max Domi going. So let's put him with offensive juggernaut David Kampf. That'll get him going.
Didn't he start the season with Nylander and Tavares?
Yeah, and you should and classic Sheldon, 34-16 are stuck together no matter what happens. But the rest of the lineup, the second anyone does anything bad, it's over. Throw it in the blender. Get them, separate them. Try something new. Like, just let the kid. Like, we've seen now that him and Knies showed some flashes of chemistry. Keep that going. Like, it's early in the season. Like, stop just throwing things in a blender because someone has a bad period. Like enough. Like just
Yeah, but then they're gonna go out next game and they're gonna suck, and then everyone's gonna be like, switch the lines. Like,
no, I disagree. Well, we need to stop doing that as fans. We need to stop calling for that.
I don't think it's entirely on Sheldon. Anytime somebody, like all of us for years, including us, have been crying about Nylander and Tavares playing together. The beginning of the season, you literally said they need to be separated. They cannot play together. Look at them.
Well, I sat.
Both have 9 points.
Well, I sat here last week and called myself an idiot.
Yeah, like it's
but that is like John Tavares has 9 points right now. Nylander and Tavares both have 9 points right now.
Yeah,
and I think Tavares, the way Nylander is playing, has sort of changed the dynamic of the pair because we talked a lot about Tavares is sort of like he's not the most fleet of foot hockey player, especially at this point in his career. But Willie being so dynamic in the offensive zone right now, all Tavares needs to do is get in the right spot.
Yeah.
And he's getting a goal or an assist. Like, look at the overtime goal last night. Just went right to the net. Nylander put it right on his tape. In you go.
Yeah, I don't want to, I wanted Sheldon gone. Like, I didn't want him back for this season. And I'm not, like, totally defending him here. But I also think he's not, like, every time something good happens with any two players, like, the fan base is just like, those two guys have to play together. And then they have a couple bad games, and they're like, you got to separate them. Like, I don't think it's just Sheldon. I think it's the fan base, too, that just pushes these line changes on everybody's brain. Like, it's just, anytime something remotely good happens, like Joe Woll, perfect example. Like, now the guy's the best goalie of all time. Wait till the next game and he sucks. Wait till Matthew Knies and I almost called him Ty Domi, like Craig Simpson there, and Max Domi go out and they have an awful shift and they're hemmed in for an entire game. Like,
well, then, but I think what we're learning this early in the season is when you inject all these new guys, everyone is trying. You said it last week on our, and I clipped it and posted it on our social media, and people on TikTok called us idiots for 3 days. Like, if you're anyone outside the core four on this team, you got to make an impact every single chance you get. But this is a lot of new bodies. It's a pretty much like 2 new assistant coaches implementing new systems. Like, this is gonna take a while, and I want Sheldon to just not, like, you don't need to, just because they have a bad period doesn't mean you need to abandon it immediately. Let these guys sort it out. Let these guys work it out. Because if you come out the other end, then we'll say, okay, because the biggest issue they have on this lineup right now is who's their third line center. Like, he had Kampf there last night.
I thought he had a great game.
But he's not.
Opinion.
If
but who are you looking for? Like, it's like,
I don't. Well, you got to try something. Like, why don't you try Domi up the middle? Like,
my problem with Max Domi is I just don't know what player he is. Like, what is Max Domi?
I think
what does he do? Like,
I think you saw last night that he's a speedy player that has some offensive upside, but he needs to be with a playmaker.
Of course, of course.
And my issue with David Kampf, because I agree, I don't think David Kampf had a bad game at all against Tampa. But my issue with David Kampf is he's like what is your bottom six? Because if you're looking for some additional offense and depth scoring, which has been a huge storyline thus far, you ain't getting it from David Kampf.
Then where are you getting it?
You're gonna have to find it. You're gonna have to move it around. Like, he called.
There's Max Domi is not going to be a full-time centerman. He's too small and he's very soft on the puck. William Nylander is not playing center. Like, Fraser Minten did not work out. Like, I just don't understand where they're getting this third line center from. They had him last year, and he decided he wanted to go to Nashville. Like, that's who their third line center was.
Well, and they called Pontus up.
Yeah, which I thought Pontus looked pretty decent.
Yeah, they started him on the fourth. You kind of have two of the same guy right now in Kampf and Pontus, but which one is going to step up and because you have to chip in for offense if you're going to be a third line center. I truly believe that. We can't sit here and rely on our top six to score all the goals and nothing from the bottom six.
Yeah, but at the same time, Matthews has 2 games without a goal. That's unacceptable to me. Like, you want to be the highest paid player in the NHL, you got to 2 games without a goal. Dude, he had 1,000 chances. Yeah. Put it in the net.
Well, can we talk about
Mitch Marner? What
do you think?
Not contributing.
What do you think about Marner right now? Like, I look at Marner and he's got 4 points and like it looks okay. Like, he plays a ton every night. It feels like every time I look up, Keefe's got him out there again. but he doesn't look. I wonder if he's battling some sort of injury. Like we know for a fact that Bertuzzi is battling an injury. I wonder if Marner is battling some sort of injury because he doesn't look like the dominant. When Mitch Marner is at his best, he's hounding pucks, he's creating, he's dynamic, he's skating, he wants it, and he doesn't really look like that player right now. He looks like a player that's kind of on the periphery. And I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, he looks awful. I don't think he looks awful. I'm actually speculating if he's 100% healthy because I just watch him and I go, something's not right here. Like something doesn't look right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just doesn't look crisp. Like, I don't know. Like, I think the expectation for him is just high because we know how good he is. Like, he's an amazing regular season hockey player who always shows up and produces points. And he just seems like he's just like, I don't know. He's just not making that pass. He's not taking that pass. It's just like hitting off his stick. It's off his skate. He's just, I don't know. He just looks like a step behind of where Mitch Marner usually is in the regular season.
You want to talk about Ryan Reaves some more?
No, I don't. It's a waste of a conversation.
But I kind of do. Like that fourth line is giving you nothing, man. Like they have to. There has to be some. No, but it's true though. It's true though. Like
Rob, Austin Matthews hasn't scored in 2 games. Why do I care about the fourth line? The highest paid player in the league can't put the puck in the net. Like, to me, the fourth line means nothing
right now. Someone's gonna come at you.
I don't care. I don't care. It's like, why are we looking at Ryan Reaves when Austin Matthews had 8,000 scoring chances and didn't put it in the net? That's unacceptable.
And Dominic Johansson.
Oh my God. I don't care about Ryan Reaves in the fourth line. I thought they had a good game. I thought they forechecked hard.
What do you if you're behind the bench? Basically, what I'm asking you is, if you're behind the bench, you're Ryan Furnish, head coach of the Maple Leafs. Okay, what do you want from your fourth line? Like I think that's. I
don't want goals. I want them to not get hemmed in. Just don't get hemmed in. Forecheck hard. That's it. Like, what are you expecting? Like, if they're not contributing offense, they're not. They're not. There's not a lot of fourth lines in the league that do contribute a shitload of offense. Like, I don't understand what people are looking for. Just don't get destroyed in your own end. Don't take a stupid penalty at a bad time, and we're good. Forecheck hard. Throw the body.
Yeah,
chip in once every 10 games, maybe.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they look. They're kind of hit and miss a little bit. That fourth line. I'm not sitting here saying Ryan Reaves is a bum or Noah Gregor's a bum or whatever. I'm just saying, like, I think the theme of the early going in this season is the coaching staff is really still searching for defined roles for these guys.
Yeah.
And what situations to put them out on the ice, what the best pairings are, etc.
Well, it doesn't matter what the best pair. Actually, I thought Mark Giordano had an incredible game.
Well, he's
in Tampa. I thought he was fantastic.
Mark Giordano's he's heading down the same road as last year, where this early in the season he's one of their best defensemen, but he's 40 years old, and by the time the playoffs roll around, he's going to be out of gas because they got no one. They got Simone Benoit. Like, that's it. Or Simon Benoit, whatever.
Well, if. I don't know. I just think everything that has to do with this team, it's okay. So Austin Matthews gets a hat trick game 1. He gets a hat trick game 2. What has he done since? Hasn't gotten a point.
Well, he had a ton. He's having.
It doesn't. It's like you have to bury it.
I know.
I don't care how many shot attempts you have, man. Doesn't mean shit to me if you're not burying.
Yeah,
What's Mitch Marner done? He has no point. I know you need depth scoring, but at the end of the day, your best players haven't provided a goal for you other than Nylander, Tavares, but your top 2 players on your first line have provided dick for you for 3 games straight. Why am I looking at Ryan Reaves? Cares what Ryan Reaves doing? Austin Matthews could get 1,000 shot attempts in 1 game. I don't care. You got to bury, man. He had 100 chances to bury against Tampa. He didn't.
Yeah,
and we're looking at Noah Gregor. Come on. Yeah. The big boys got to score, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's unacceptable.
It's. I think Matthews has looked really good. He's been snake bit the last 3 games, but I think he's looked really good.
I agree. He's played well, but when you're looking for offense, look at Nikita Kucherov last night. Just 3 points. Yep. See you later.
Hey, you
Like,
can
that's
say the same
disgusting.
thing about Tavares. Like, look at
I know.
John Tavares
And
last night.
Nylander
Yeah.
and Tavares are picking up the slack.
Yeah.
But like, I think I'm kind of just relating this to like the fourth line conversation where it's like, I'm not going to get on Reaves because he can't provide offense when our best player hasn't gotten a goal in 3 games. And he's supposed to be Mr. 60, Mr. highest paid player in the league. Like, so I'm just not going to get on a fourth liner when your top player is not scoring you goals. Like, I don't know.
So is your expectation for Matthews that he should be scoring every?
He should be scoring every other game. That's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's and you see what happens when they don't. Like, they're really fighting for it. Like, up until Domi and Knies connected to tie the game up, like, you're kind of sitting there going, like, who? Like, they can't buy a goal here against Jonas Johansson.
I know. I actually know every other game. That's a lofty expectation, but it's just, I don't know.
But if you
But
look
at the same time, he started off with 6 goals.
Let's
and he got 6 points in his first 2 games. Last 3 games, he's got 0.
Yeah, let's get away from maybe the goal thing and talk about the point discussion, because if you look at, like, I think with Matthews, we always point to the guys in the league that we compare him to, which is McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl,
Yeah,
and
Pasternak.
these are point a game players.
Yeah.
John Tavares right now is a point a game player.
He's more than a point.
Yeah,
game
like
player.
he's like
almost 2 points. per
yeah,
game.
like I can't, like, this is a narrative that you just have to there are times where I watch John, and I'm not gonna lie, I find it frustrating sometimes. Just like I just find sometimes he looks like he's skating in sand out there and he's not moving. But then, man, like, you check the game sheet at the end of the game, there he is. Like, every night, you got to give the guy his props. You really do. Like, he is a consistent point producing forward for this hockey team and has been since he got here.
Yeah. And I think Nylander's the best guy they have on the ice, period.
Well, yeah, 100%.
There is nobody who can just like grab the puck and just instantly change the momentum and change possession faster than that guy.
Well, I talked about our main thing we talked about with him last year was how he's such a interesting case study in confidence. Like, that guy's confidence is through the roof.
I think
right
the
now
days of him not having confidence are like
gone.
over.
Yeah.
I think last year he really got rid of the sleepy Nylander kind of split personality thing he had going on, and now I think that's gone. I think he's just a damn good hockey player, and he knows it.
Yeah.
He looks bigger out there. He looks stronger.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's an animal right now.
Yeah. It's also a lesson in remembering how young these kids are. And, like, when they come in and, like, everyone was, like, so angry at him for years about,
I hated his guts.
Yeah, everyone looked at him for years and was like, oh my God, this guy's so lazy.
Yeah.
He's
Thought he was the laziest hockey player of all time, and he's just completely flipped it. And now it's like, I don't see that part of his game at all. He looks fantastic.
One guy I want to get your take on is John Klingberg. I think John Klingberg is one of the most interesting hockey players I've ever watched. He is, like, I think this dude has, like, I don't want to say the word elite, but this dude offensively, he's a scoring threat every time. If he has the puck in the offensive zone, he's really good at distributing it, and he's also a guy that if it ends up on his stick, he can fire it in the back of the net. Oh my God, him in his own zone though. Oh my God. It's like his brain turns on when he's in the offensive zone and he's just like churning and creating and doing things. And then it gets in the defensive zone and it's just like his brain shuts off and he doesn't know where to stand. He doesn't know what to do. He gets the puck on his stick. He just, like the Florida goal the other night, he gets the puck on his stick. He just pizzas it up the boards. There's no Leaf player in sight, and it's in the back of the net. Like, it's funny because defensively, you want to throw something through your television watching him, but you're like, this guy needs to be out there every night because he's a way better power play quarterback than Morgan Riley ever was, quite frankly. And he's a legit, like, look at him. You look at their team. He's right near the top. Look at their top 5 guys with points right now. Nylander, Tavares, Matthews, Klingberg, Marner. The guy he's such an anomaly.
I mean, I think most of their teams' brains shut off when they're on. Most of the guys on the roster who are on the ice, their brains shut off when they're in the D zone. So I don't think he's alone with that one.
What do you think about him, though?
The second Tampa goal, the other, where the guys are just out in front of the net just by himself. It's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, oh my God. I find he's just like a funny character out there. How tall is he? Is he a big boy?
Here, we'll look up
6'4"
we'll look up.
I don't know. The guy's
John
massive,
Klingberg
but like, yeah, he's just like he's like a big boy out there. I used to thought he was like more of a speedster, but he's not as fast as I thought he was. But yeah, no, the guy can. And they showed the stat
6'2"
on the broadcast that the Leafs are like the worst team in the league at their defense providing offense. So like he's almost necessary at that point.
Yeah. Like it's fun, and he's getting paid 4.1. Like they're paying him a lot of money, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Their D is just
their D's a huge problem right now.
Really
They need like a total regroup. Like they
do. They need to get rid of everything. They need a whole new core in here, man. Like
they need a total regroup. It's funny. It's just like I look at the game. The guy who I want to sit down and just ask him what is going on, even though I think he's been a lot better in the 2 games in Florida, is Jake McCabe. Like, I just want to sit him down and go,
you're the worst
stop pinching, dude. Like, every time I look up, there's Jake McCabe flying over the opposing team's blue line. It's like, what are you doing?
What are you going to do with this puck?
Yes,
like, this is not going in the net.
Like,
not.
My God, man. Like, stay back. Just take the body. Like, that's what we need from you. They've given Liljegren some looks in the top 4. I think I'm looking at Timothy Liljegren and
I thought he played pretty well.
Same. But I'm looking at him and like, honestly, and I'm sure Sheldon has had this conversation with him. It's enough, man. Like, no more fringe top 4. You need to be a top 4 defenseman for us. Like, straight up. Like, we look up and down, especially if they're going to do what they need to do with Giordano, which is give him nights off potentially, so he's ready to go in the playoffs. Like, enough, man. Like, just like, you got to figure it out. You need to be like, even if you want to be the 4th of the top 4, that's fine. But you need to be like steady back there. And I thought he did that against Tampa. I thought he looked really good against Tampa.
Yeah, I just don't know. Is he capable of doing it?
You kind of have to look at him and go like,
yeah, you have to.
Not like no more. Like I said, we can't have you as a fringe top 4 guy for us anymore.
But if you just look at like look what the Sens have on their back end. Look what Buffalo has on their back end. It's just like, I know the Leafs have more talented players and will probably finish ahead of them because of that.
Man, you know what?
It's like, dude, like the guys in Buffalo, like, Jesus, like, they're all young, they're big, they're fast, they're strong, and we got a bunch of aging wonders back there.
Well,
and like it's
we know this, right? Like
I know. It's
everybody knows this. Tree Living. Did you see the clip of Tree Living sitting up there last night, like tweaking? Like he's got the pen. He's got the pen. And he's like sitting there, like just like, God, this hockey team is soft.
Yeah. I feel the same way, man. Like I'm lost watching this team.
They all know. They know that though. Like there's no way. Like when Sheldon drives me nuts. But there's no way when him and Tree Living are having their daily discussions that they're not saying like we're not winning anything come April with these 6 guys back here as currently constituted.
No, and it's just like I don't even think they could even do anything about it. That's the sad part.
Honestly, like it's a full season. It's a full season to go, so this is like way too early hot take. But like, I would love to see a couple of games where you go 11-7. And you're only putting Klingberg out there in the offensive zone. Like that's something that I would, and you know what? Based on the way he plays, he'd probably prefer that too.
Yeah.
But huge narrative early that everyone's talking about, and it's actually true if you look at it. Like there's no, like look at this division. Like there is no layups in this division anymore, man. Look at the Bruins.
Yeah, the Bruins have already made the playoffs.
4-0. Like this, like
this team's really gonna drop off.
Yeah,
it's
can we stop?
Yeah.
We're done. You and I didn't do that.
I don't think I did that.
No, you and I didn't do that.
I on paper, it's hard to say that they weren't going to drop off a little bit. Like, I don't think they're going to have the historic season, even though they're on pace for it right now.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they still have Marchand. They still have Pasternak's one of the best players in the league, period.
They're they're just such a like a winning culture organization. Like that's an
right
organization that
way.
just doesn't tolerate
No.
mediocrity or failure. So it's can we stop with the old, the Bruins are going to take
I think
a step
that's already
back.
over. I
And
think
like
that's already over.
The Lightning, if you watch the Lightning, they're not the same team they have been. They've lost a bunch of guys. However, and even though Jonas Johansson played really well, I think we'd be talking differently about them if Vasilevsky was in the net. I think that's a huge, he's one of the handful of star goalies in this league. So I think that's impacting them. And then you got the Wings. The Red Wings are 4-1. The Senators have the same record the Leafs do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all shakes out in the end. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think the days of the top three in the division are the Leafs, the Lightning, and the Bruins. I think the Bruins will be there, and I hope and I think the Leafs will be there. But I think there's gonna be a lot of movement in this division throughout the season. No layups.
Yeah. I have no idea how. The Red Wings are 4-1, but I don't. How much that doesn't mean they're making the playoff. I don't know.
No, and they're off to a good start.
I think they're off to a good
season.
start.
Yeah,
They've been
it's
scoring
long
a lot
season.
of goals.
Yeah.
I mean, the Devils kind of came out of nowhere the one year and they made it all the way. But one thing I forgot to mention that I should have mentioned off the top because I thought it's the most important point was regardless of everything we've just said about that hockey team or the hockey game, that game was fantastic. The Leafs and Lightning at Amalie Arena is just that is entertainment. It was a damn good, exciting hockey game. I enjoyed the hell out of watching it.
If you look at Leaf rivals these days, the Lightning are right there. They are.
They're number one.
Yeah, would you are? Yeah,
Number one.
Yeah.
Easily. Not even. I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
That was a fun hockey game.
Yeah, and there's something about it's funny, right? Because it's Tampa, Florida, but there's just something. You're right. There's something about Amalie Arena. When you fire that up, it's okay, this is a big game.
Yeah.
Saturday night too. 100%.
What an entertaining, fantastic. I've watched a lot of crap. There's some games where they just are awful and the other team's awful and it's flat and somebody comes out on top. But that game was. The Leafs didn't score, but they had over 50 shots. The guys were throwing the body. What a game.
Yeah, and
Very entertaining.
up to play it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are anointing the Lightning as the Leafs' biggest
100%.
rival currently. Yeah.
Have to.
This. So you would say this era of the Leaf core, the Lightning are their biggest rival.
I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one team even close.
Yeah. And I mean, you could say potential
Because they got even though they got to 7 games with the Bruins twice, there was just no way they were beating that team.
Yeah.
They were just too young, too immature. They should have beat Tampa
the first time.
Yeah. And they didn't, and then they beat them the second time.
Yeah.
And it's just I think 100%.
I do think it's when's the first time they play the Senators? Because I do think that's November 8th. I do think that's a rivalry that we're going to see come back to fruition because I think the Sens are a team on a mission this year. They're a rejuvenated organization with the new ownership, and they've got, I think they're.
Leafs are always ass against.
I know, and I think
even when they're not good, they still play like shit against them.
Well, I would love to see that. That was the rivalry of my childhood.
Yeah.
Was the Leafs and the Sens. So I'd love to see that kind of come back into the fold 100%.
Mm.
Right, buddy. We sat down and I was like, how are we going to stretch this out? And look at that, 35 minutes.
Yeah, this is the hardest. I think this is going to be the hardest season of Leafs hockey to watch.
He looks completely exasperated.
Yeah, it really my head is scrambled. I don't know. It's going to be a long year, and we're already 2 weeks in, and it's just we're already complaining about everything. There's not one thing we haven't complained about.
Well,
yet.
Not necessarily. I think yes, Matthews hasn't scored in a couple games, and Marner. I think Marner is dealing with an injury of some kind, but the the core four has been really good. I think the positives is Matthew Knies is a top 6 forward. Like it's like we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Like there's no more debate. He's a top 6 forward of all their like organizational quote unquote prospects, if you can even call them that anymore. He is the top of the list.
No, both those goals he scored were elite
by a mile.
Incredible.
And I think the defense is exactly what we thought it would be. I think John Klingberg is the most hilarious hockey player I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of people going into the season predicted that Joe Woll would surpass Samsonov on the goaltending depth chart and take that number 1 spot. And look at this. We're
he already did
5 games in and he already has.
Yeah, it's his net now.
Yes,
100%.
Yep. So you got to look at it like that. Like just fun storylines.
Yeah.
People are still
man,
crying over Ryan Reaves on social media. You refuse to even engage in that.
No, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. 34. You got to score a goal, man. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Like, I'm not looking at Noah Gregor. I'm looking at you.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back at some point this week. Leafs looking at a week of they play the Capitals, who are struggling on Tuesday night. The Capitals have had a rough start to the season. Then they go to Dallas. Then they go to Nashville next Saturday to take on Luke Shen and Ryan O'Reilly and the Nashville Predators in Nashville. So we'll be back at some point, either before or after that, to break it all down. And if you want to ride with us for the rest of the season, hit that like and subscribe button below. Every time we get, you know what's funny is I've signed off. Like you and I have done something like 200 episodes. You'd think at some point I would get some sort of routine down for signing off on a show, but I always get to the end and I'm like, I mean, if you want to watch with us, hit that like and subscribe.
I think it always sounds kind of similar.
But in all seriousness, though, hit the like and subscribe, leave a review. Every little bit helps. Comments, we love the comments. Even if you want to rip us, tell us to shut up, just please go right ahead. We love every second of it.
Contradicting ourselves.
Yeah, contradicting ourselves. Yeah. We say one thing one week, and then we say the complete opposite the next episode.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said last week, and frankly, it doesn't matter. Right? If I did contradict myself, I apologize.
100%. What are they going to do?
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.